To use SSH to connect to your server, you'll have to prepare it with three things. Make sure OpenSSH server is installed. Make sure you can connect to your server over the network. And make sure you have a firewall exception for SSH. We'll cover each of those in this lesson. The first step is to install OpenSSH server. If you selected that option when you were building your server, it should already be installed. But you can see if it's installed by typing man sshd config_config. If you get an error back, that means SSH server is not installed. And since it's not installed, we're going to update our server. And then we're going to install OpenSSH server. To update, we just type sudo apt update. Everything's up to date. Then we type sudo apt install OpenSSH server. Hit yes to continue. Now if we type man sshd config, we get a manual page entry. So it looks like it installed okay. Now we have to configure networking. So we'll shut down our server. And in VirtualBox, we can see it's powered off. So we right-click and go to Settings. Click on the Network tab. And under the drop-down, we'll click Bridged Adapter. I'm assuming for this course you're on a home network that's protected by some kind of wireless router or firewall, or you're on a corporate network. If your computer is directly connected to the internet, you'll want to make sure the root account is disabled, and you'll want to make sure that you have a secure password on your user account. So please do those things as soon as you boot up after we do this, before enabling SSH, which we'll cover later. So we select Bridged Adapter, click OK. Then we power on by double-clicking. And we log in. So typing IP ADDR and grepping for INET will tell us our IP address. Now we should be able to ping that from our computer. The IP address we want to ping is 192.168.254.105, so we'll try that. Ping is a network program designed to help us troubleshoot network issues. Our server is replying, so we're good. Hit Control-C to stop. So networking is all set up for us. If you're directly connected to the internet, you'll also want to make sure your server is up to date. We'll do apt update, sudo apt update. Then we'll do sudo apt upgrade -y. Then we'll do sudo apt full upgrade -y. Our server was already up to date, so it didn't do much, but hopefully if there was anything missing, your server is up to date now. Now we'll configure the Ufw Firewall. There's a full lesson on setting up the Ufw Firewall in the Securing Your Ubuntu Server section in the lesson entitled Enabling Your Firewall, Ufw. Here we'll do the bare minimum, prepping your server to accept connections over SSH on TCP port 22. To check the status of your firewall, just type sudo Ufw status. If it says status inactive, that's okay at this point. First we'll allow SSH. And it says the rules were updated. Then we'll deny incoming and allow outgoing traffic. Type sudo Ufw default deny incoming, and then sudo Ufw default allow outgoing. Then we enable the firewall by typing sudo Ufw enable. We check it by sudo Ufw status. And if you want more information, you can type status verbose. It tells you the default statements when you use verbose. Now that we've installed OpenSSH server, configured networking, and enabled the firewall, we'll start the SSH service. To do that, you just type sudo service ssh start. To check it, we can type sudo service ssh status. You can see that it's loaded and running. Or we could check with netstat. Just type netstat. Just type netstat -tanup and grep for SSH. We'll have to do sudo. There we go. And you can see that port 22 is listening, which is the SSH. And that it's the SSHD service that's listening. Now your server's all ready to go. On to the next lesson for configuring remote access.